getting a SaaS business to become default alive, maybe even raise a little bit of capital, hire a team, and just become a sustainable long term business means identifying your perfect fit customers, bringing them into your solution, delivering value, and those folks sticking around for the long run. Doing this is the definition of product market fit. But to do this it's really complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces around. And to formulate all of this into a cohesive kind of strategy and plan that we can understand and implement as founders and usually as small teams is what we call a go-to-market strategy. In this video, we're going to break down the components of what constitutes a great go-to-market strategy and how you can create and implement one for your SaaS business. Let's dive in. Hey there, Craig Hewitt here. Welcome back to the channel. I took my SaaS business, Castos, from literally zero to a solid seven-figure business over the course of the last few years, following the exact principles I'm going to share with you today. This is the go-to-market strategy. And I use this framework with every single client that I work with in my one-on-one SaaS coaching business, where I help early-stage SaaS founders build a repeatable and scalable way to attract their perfect fit customers. And this is the dream, right? We have a business, we have SaaS, it's the best business model on earth, but a lot of us struggle with finding great customers for our business, and customers and lead flow and deals and closing those are the lifeblood of any business, and SaaS is no exception. Okay, so to start with, let's define what the goal is, right? Where are we trying to go? What does good look like? I think a lot of people skip this step. They don't realize that without knowing the goalpost that we're shooting for, how can we realistically expect to build the path that will get us there? So we'll spend a few minutes defining what the goal is. Next, we'll talk about who our ideal customer persona is, right? Our ICP. Your ICP really is the cornerstone of everything else that we develop around our go-to-market strategy. We'll ask a bunch of really interesting kind of demographic, firmographic, and psychographic questions to help narrow in on exactly who we should be targeting. And then from there, we'll build the exact strategy and execution that's needed to go after our ideal customer persona and achieve the goal that we set out in the first stage. Sound good? Okay, let's dive into the first step. Here, let's define our goal. What do you want your business to look like 12 months from today? This could be a revenue number. It could be profit or profitability. It could be hires that you want to make. How big do you want your team to be? It could be the amount of capital you want raised, especially if you're on a VC track. Raising the next round often is the big milestone that we're working towards. I've run funded companies and entirely bootstrapped, and so I've seen it both ways. Either way, getting to that next step usually is the best kind of frame for you to think about your business within. Can be funding, can be hiring, can be revenue or profitability. Whatever that is for you, take a minute and write down on the worksheet linked below what your goal is, what you want your business to look like in 12 months. And you need to have a number associated with this. It has to be a number of some sort. It can't just be bigger or better or double. It has to be 5 million in revenue, raise $20 million, have a team of 12, achieve profitability, have 10% margin in the business. Whatever that is, take a moment and really think about that and write it down in the worksheet that's linked below. Okay, second step is we're going to identify our ideal customer persona. So you may have heard the term ICP before. ICP is really the very beginnings of everything we do around sales and marketing strategy, right? Who do we want to talk to? Who do we want to attract into our business? And who do we want to serve? So I mentioned earlier, we're going to have three types of questions here around demographics. That's on an individual level, right? Male or female? Where are they located? How old are they? What kind of roles and responsibilities are they? So are they in the marketing department? Are they in HR? Are they manager, director, or C-suite? So kind of on the personal level, that's what we're going to identify. And then firmographics, talking about the company, right? Is it a company that just raised a seed round? Is there a triggering event maybe that happened there? Is it companies between 20 and 500 employees? Is it companies above $500 million in revenue, right? Tell me about the company. Again, all of these questions are linked in the worksheet below, and take a minute and fill these out. Really, really interesting questions. Whether you're using something like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to actually target these people, or an ad platform maybe, or just doing this like cold organic outreach or content that you'll be creating to attract people into your business, having really clear definitions and answers to these questions is important. And the last kind of cluster of questions that we'll ask ourselves are around psychographics, right? These are like fears, emotions, wants, desires, and goals that our ideal customers have, right? So are they going towards something or are they going away from it? Has there been something recently in their business that makes a change in the status quo, makes them want something or want to not do something? So think about what that could be. This usually only is applicable if you have some customers, you understand that there's a pattern to things that your ideal customers want or don't want. Okay, now that we have our ICP pretty well mapped out, we're going to move on to the next step, which is the strategy around how we're going to approach our ICP. But before we get to questions like inbound or outbound or paid or social, things like that, we really want to define the company as a whole and really think about why we exist. Why are we here? Who is it that we serve? What unique value proposition do we have? What's special about our company that no one else has? And what kind of like what's our elevator pitch? I encourage you to write this out long form, like a manifesto or an essay. I post this on our site. We have this on our site at castos.com. This is a really great thing for your customers maybe to see if they're doing homework about you versus competitor A and competitor B. If you have this kind of manifesto on your site that says this is who we are, and you put the stake in the ground, they may see that and really identify with it and say, "Shit, this is great. I really vibe with this. I really associate with this. I want to work with people who think like I do and think like this." So once you have your manifesto and your unique value proposition, how you're different, once you have all that stuff laid out, then it's time to think about channels and ways that you might approach your ideal customer persona. And this is where a scoring methodology that we use a lot at our business, and the acronym for that is RICE, where the RICE scoring system comes into place. And so RICE stands for reach, impact, confidence, and effort, right? So reach, what's the scale of this, right? How many folks can I reach with cold email? What's the magnitude of search around this topic that I want to write for? Impact, right? If this works, will it make a meaningful impact on the growth of my business? Fair question. Confidence, right? With my skill set and my teams or the available resources I have to me, can we actually do this? Can we pull off this big SEO project? Can we run paid ads effectively? Can we do social selling on LinkedIn? What is the confidence you have in your kind of pool of resources to pull this off? And then effort, right? Is this a really easy thing to do and it will have high impact, or is this a really hard thing to do and it won't really result in much, right? So rate each of the initiatives or the projects that you want to go after for these four criteria. So I encourage you to use the spreadsheet linked below and list out, you know, all of these potential ways that you can reach your ideal customer persona, right? So this is again where inbound versus outbound, social versus paid, LinkedIn versus Instagram. That's where all of these, cold email maybe, all of these approaches come in. And then don't just guess, but be pretty scientific about using the RICE ranking algorithm to score these, and then just pick the best one. So give them a number 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And then once you add up the R, I, C, and E of each, customer acquisition approach, you'll have the answer and it'll be pretty clear. So once you have this answer, now it's time to get really specific about, okay, in the next 90 days, what do I need to do to work my way towards that goal that I defined in the very first step? Okay, here, let's just do the math, right? We want to get to 50K MRR selling a $500 a month product. So to do that, we need 100 customers, right? 100 customers paying us $500 a month, 50K MRR. To get the 100 customers, we know that we have about a 50% close rate. So we need 200 sales calls booked. And if we determine that, like working our existing network and some cold email, that we get booked on calls out of 1 out of every 5 contacts, we need 5 times that number of booked calls, which is 1,000 leads. So just by doing some really simple kind of back of the envelope math, we know to get to 50K MRR, actually all I need is 1,000 leads. I need 1,000 contacts to contact them, nurture, get them on a sales call, do the sales call, close them, you're at 50K MRR, right? And I get it, right? It's it's not that easy, but it is that straightforward, right? I think the big benefit of a really cohesive go-to-market strategy like this is it takes the mountain of growth away, right? We just look at it and say, how am I going to climb this mountain to 50K MRR? That's really daunting and that's hard. And that I think that's what makes a lot of us say, like, this is too hard. I'm just going to go get a job, or I'm going to hire sales to figure this out for us, because we don't want to do the math to figure out actually what the next steps need to be. So between kind of defining what the goal is, establishing our ideal customer persona, evaluating the channels and the strategies of how we can reach our ideal customer persona, and then doing the math of saying, okay, to get to my goal, what's the first step I need to do? And what's the first step in that process? To me, really makes this a lot more tangible, to where when I wake up and go to work the next day, I'm excited because I know exactly what I need to do. And it's not get to 50K MRR, but it's how can I get 100 leads to contact today? And that's the next step. Okay, so I want to pause here because I know we've talked about a lot. We talked about goal setting and ideal customer persona, go to market strategy, and scoring and ranking our channels, and then doing the math backwards to evaluate the next steps. And I get it, it's hard, right? There's a worksheet linked below that walks through every step of this to help you kind of step by step navigate the process. But also want you to know that you're 100% not alone. I'm here to help in any way I can. Drop a comment in below with where you are in the process, maybe what you're struggling with, what's really important that you found in defining this go to market strategy, and help other folks in the community as well. And if I can, I'll hop in and help you out, answer any questions that you have to help you get to your goal faster. And all I ask in return is, if you're enjoying the content here and this is helpful, please like this, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. It really sends great signals to me. I don't really care about YouTube. It sends great signals to me saying, hey, this is valuable and you really appreciate it. And I appreciate you in return. I've mentioned this resource a few times, but I really want to double click on this because it's super valuable. In the description below is a link to a Notion template that walks step by step through this entire process. So Notion, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of a document management system. So literally my entire business is run on Notion, and this free Notion template is included in the links below. And it will help you navigate this kind of mountain that we talked about and formulate a really cohesive, solid go-to-market strategy for your business that you can then have concrete next steps that you know you need to take tomorrow and in the next 90 days to achieve that 12-month goal that we set off with initially. So I hope it's helpful. Check it out in the description below. And again, if you're enjoying this, please just like, subscribe, smash the bell. It tells me really great things. I'm sure it does good things for YouTube too, but it tells me that you're enjoying this, which is the most valuable and important thing to me. So if I can help in any way, please just leave a comment below. Happy to dive in and help out any way I can. Until then, happy selling and good luck.